You can't seriously expect us to believe you're deaf. It's insulting to real deaf dancers, she scoffed, crossing her arms. Adam wasn't born deaf. He remembered the sound of drums, the rhythm of laughter, the soft music his mother played while cooking. At 3 years old, he would twirl around the living room, his tiny feet tapping to every beat, his arms swaying with untrained joy. He didn't know the names of the moves, but he danced like he had known them in another life. By 6, Adam had become the heartbeat of every party. Guests would circle around him, clapping and laughing, as he spun and slid across the floor like he was made of music. Parents begged him to dance at their children's birthdays. His mother, a woman with warm eyes and a tired smile, would always nod proudly and whisper to him, "Show them how the music lives in your bones, my star." But at 13, everything changed. It began with a fever. Then came the sharp, unbearable pain in his right ear. At first, they thought it was a mild infection. But within days, his balance wobbled, his eyes blurred, and the world became a swirl of muffled sounds and deep, pulsing silence. By the time the doctors realized how severe the infection was, the damage was done. The infection had eaten away critical parts of his ear and threatened to spread to his brain. Emergency surgery saved his life, but cost him his hearing. The hospital room was silent. Too silent. He stared at his mother's lips, moving with words he could no longer hear. Tears streamed down her face, and she gripped his hand tighter than ever. Adam tried to speak, but his own voice sounded foreign, like shouting underwater. "Why is everything gone?" he signed clumsily, fingers trembling. His mother hugged him tightly, her body shaking. "You're still here. You're still my Adam. And music doesn't have to be heard. It can be felt." But Adam didn't believe her. Not then. For weeks, he shut down. He wouldn't eat much. Wouldn't dance. Wouldn't smile. The boy who once lived for rhythm now sat still, watching the world from the sidelines, drowning in the quiet. His room, once filled with mirrors and posters of dancers, became dark and cold. He unplugged his speaker. He avoided the dance studio. Sometimes, he pressed his fingers hard into the sides of his head, as if he could squeeze sound back into his skull. But sound never came. The boy who once danced like no one was watching had now become a shadow of himself. Until one day, something changed. Adam had given up on dancing. Or so he told himself. But there was one place he found a strange kind of peace, backstage at his friend Malik's band rehearsals. Malik had been his best friend since they were toddlers, and even now, even with the silence, Malik never treated him like he was broken. "You don't have to hear it, bro," Malik once wrote to him, handing him a bottle of soda during a break. "You feel music. You always did." Adam gave a tight smile and nodded, even though he didn't believe it. Not yet. He sat beside the speakers as the band played. He couldn't hear the instruments, but he could feel something, the vibrations. The thump of the bass in the floor. The rattle of the drums in his chest. The ripple of energy in the air when the crowd clapped during live shows. And slowly, almost unconsciously, his fingers started tapping. Then his feet. Then one day, as the band played an upbeat Afrofusion rhythm at an open rehearsal, something snapped inside Adam. Something alive. He stood up, closed his eyes, and danced. At first, it was slow, unsure. But as the floor beneath him trembled with every beat, he began to move like the music was calling him from beneath his skin. He couldn't hear the song. But he didn't need to. The rhythm was in the ground, in the sway of the people around him, in the thump-thump-thump of his heartbeat aligning with the drums. The room went silent, or at least, that's how it felt. All eyes were on him. A woman whispered, "How is he dancing so perfectly? Can he hear it?" "No," someone else said. "He's deaf. But he's in sync. Like perfectly." Malik's jaw dropped. He's not hearing it. He's feeling it. When the music stopped, Adam opened his eyes, confused. But the applause was thunderous. For the first time in 2 years, he felt awake. Not broken. Not lost. Not pitted. Just alive. Backstage, Malik pulled him into a hug and said, "Man, you just stole the whole damn show." Adam laughed, a sound that was still strange to his own ears. "I didn't hear a thing," he signed with a grin. "But I felt everything." After that first impromptu performance, something in Adam changed. He started going to more shows with Malik, not just to sit in the background, but to dance. At first, it was small. A few heads turning. A handful of curious stares. A few claps. Then videos started surfacing online, shaky phone clips of a boy who moved like the music lived in his bones, even though he couldn't hear a single note. "He's deaf," the captions would read. But the comments told a different story. "There's no way he's deaf. Look how perfectly he hits the beat. He's faking it for clout. Just another social media gimmick. Where's the proof he can't hear?" Adam read them all. At night, alone in his room, he would stare at his reflection in the mirror. The boy looking back at him wasn't sure who he was becoming. Part of him wanted to scream, "I'm not faking this. I would give anything to hear again." But another part, the deeper, wounded part, was afraid. Afraid that maybe, just maybe, the world would never see him beyond his silence. One night after a show, a woman cornered him backstage. "You can't seriously expect us to believe you're deaf," she scoffed, crossing her arms. "It's insulting to real deaf dancers." Adam blinked, stunned. The heat rose in his chest. But he didn't answer. He didn't hear a word. Malik stepped forward. "He is deaf. He nearly died from an infection. He lost everything. But he found his way back, through this. Through feeling the beat." But the woman only scoffed and walked away. Adam didn't dance that night. Instead, he sat on the edge of the stage after everyone had left, staring into the empty seats. Malik sat beside him. "You don't have to prove anything, you know." Adam looked at him, eyes glassy. Then slowly signed. "But what if they only believe me if I suffer in silence again? What if the world wants me to stay broken so they can feel inspired?" Malik shook his head. "Then screw the world. You're not here to inspire pity. You're here to set stages on fire." And Adam did. Over the next few months, he kept dancing. Bigger crowds. Brighter lights. More cameras. He didn't talk much during interviews. Instead, he danced. He told his story with movement, pain, hope, anger, joy, all poured into every step, every spin. And slowly, people stopped questioning. They started feeling. Adam became a sensation. Not just a local star, a national phenomenon. Clips of his performances were everywhere: Instagram reels, TikTok challenges, dance compilations. News anchors called him the boy who danced without music. Late-night talk shows invited him to perform. His silence became the loudest thing in the room. But it wasn't sympathy that got him there, it was his talent. Raw, unfiltered, and undeniable. He danced like someone who had tasted loss and found his way back, step by trembling step. Every movement told a story that transcended sound, a language of grief, resilience, and fire. Endorsement deals started rolling in. Brands wanted his face, his name, his story. But Adam stayed grounded. He never forgot the boy who once sat in his dark room, afraid he'd never dance again. Then one day, Malik ran into the rehearsal studio, his phone in hand, eyes wide with excitement. "Adam! Look!" It was an article. A new experimental procedure. A series of surgeries and implants, advanced cochlear fixtures, designed for patients who had lost their hearing due to inner ear trauma. It wasn't guaranteed. It wasn't cheap. But it was possible. And now, Adam could afford it. He sat in the doctor's office weeks later, staring at the diagrams on the wall. The surgeon explained everything, the risks, the chances of partial hearing, the adjustment process. Adam looked down at his hands, then at Malik, who nodded silently beside him. Then he signed. "Let's do it." The surgery was long. The recovery, longer. The first few weeks, everything was dizzying. The world sounded strange. Like a badly tuned radio. Like static trying to be music. But then, one morning, as sunlight spilled through his window, a bird chirped outside. And Adam heard it. Tears welled in his eyes. Not because of the sound, but because it reminded him of something he once thought was gone forever: hope. Malik walked in, grinning ear to ear. "You good, bro?" Adam didn't answer with words. He stood, closed his eyes, and danced. This time, for the first time in years, he danced with the music. Adam didn't just stop at regaining his hearing. He didn't vanish into fame or let the world box him in as just an inspiring story. He knew his purpose was bigger. He began speaking. At first, it was hard, his voice was uncertain, shaped by years of silence. But slowly, like his dance, his words found their rhythm. He appeared on talk shows, not just as the deaf dancer who made it, but as Adam, the boy who turned his silence into movement, his pain into purpose. On one show, a host asked, "What would you tell a kid who just lost something they think they can't live without?" Adam looked into the camera, heart pounding. Then he said, with a calm, clear voice, "I'd tell them, your biggest weakness might just be the thing that sets you apart. I thought my life ended when I went deaf. But that silence? It taught me how to listen in a way no one else could. I stopped hearing music, and I started feeling it. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up, with all your scars, all your doubts, all your silence, and still find your beat." Crowds stood and applauded. Not out of pity, but out of respect. Soon, he was being invited to schools, dance academies, and youth centers. Not to perform, but to teach. He created workshops where kids of all abilities learned to dance, not just with their ears, but with their hearts, their feet, their spirit. One day, a little girl who wore hearing aids raised her hand and asked timidly, "Do you think I can dance too?" Adam knelt beside her, placed her hand gently on the speaker so she could feel the vibrations, then whispered with a smile, "You already are." Today, Adam's name is written not just in the world of dance, but in the hearts of those who've ever felt like they were too broken to shine. Because he didn't just dance through silence. He danced his way into the light.